She was carrying leftover food. To anyone passing by, she was just another face in the crowd, someone forgotten by time, a shadow among shadows. But within her tired eyes lived stories that the world had long stopped listening to. Her name was Maya, and though her hands carried nothing more than a small container of leftover food, her heart carried the weight of 1,000 quiet prayers. She walked slowly down the narrow street, her steps uncertain but steady, her spirit trembling but unbroken. The evening wind brushed against her face, carrying the scent of dust, bread, and the faint aroma of rain. She didn't walk toward a destination, she simply walked, because stopping meant remembering, and remembering hurt too much. Once, long ago, Maya's world had been filled with laughter. The smell of fresh meals cooked with love filled her home. Her little boy's giggles would echo through the walls. She had dreams, simple, humble dreams of family, warmth, and faith. But life has a way of shifting like sand beneath our feet. Her husband fell ill, her savings ran dry, and when hope grew thin, the world around her turned silent. Friends stopped visiting, relatives stopped calling. One by one, everything she thought was certain faded away. She began working wherever she could, cleaning, serving, washing, just to buy enough rice for the next day. And yet, every night, before she closed her eyes, she whispered, "Thank you, God, for one more day." Now, years later, that faith was all she had left. In her small hands, the leftover food was more than just a meal, it was her offering. She had learned that when life takes everything from you, gratitude becomes the only thing you can truly give. But still, loneliness has a voice, and tonight, it spoke louder than usual. The streets glimmered with lights, but inside her, everything felt dim. People passed her by, eyes fixed on their phones, laughter echoing in pairs and groups. Not one person noticed the woman who walked among them, holding a simple meal to her heart. Then, from across the street, a child's voice rose through the noise, clear, innocent, filled with something sacred. "Daddy, it's her." Maya froze. The words floated through the air, soft but unmistakable. She turned slowly. A young boy, no older than 7, stood beside his father. His little finger pointed directly at her, his eyes wide with recognition, like he had seen an angel appear among mortals. His father, startled, looked down at the child and then toward Maya. Their eyes met, and something passed between them, a silent knowing, a divine whisper neither could explain. The father crossed the street, the boy tugging at his hand, almost pulling him forward. Maya stepped back instinctively, unsure, her heart pounding. "I'm sorry," she stammered. "Did I drop something?" But before she could say more, the boy ran up to her, smiling. "It's you," he said softly. "You're the lady who gave me food that day." Her breath caught, her memory raced back to a rainy afternoon months ago. She had been sitting outside a small bakery after her shift ended, eating what was left from the day. A little boy had been crying nearby, hungry, alone. She had given him half of her meal without thinking twice. She never knew his name, never saw him again, until now. The boy's father spoke, his voice trembling. "You may not remember us, but my son was lost that day. We were searching for him for hours. When I finally found him, he told me that a kind lady had given him food and told him not to be afraid. That was you." Tears welled in Maya's eyes. She pressed her hand to her chest, unable to speak. "I just did what anyone would do," she whispered. But the father shook his head gently. "No, not anyone would. You did it with love. You saw my child when others looked away." The world seemed to still. The noise of traffic faded, the chaos of the street melted into silence. In that single moment, Maya felt something shift inside her, a warmth, a light she hadn't felt in years. The boy reached out and hugged her tightly. "Daddy says God sends good people to help us," he said. "I told him you're one of them." Maya's tears flowed freely now. "Oh, sweetheart," she whispered, "God doesn't forget anyone. He just waits for us to remember him." That night, as she walked home, her leftover food still in hand, Maya felt as though the weight on her shoulders had lifted. The boy's words echoed in her heart. "Daddy, it's her." What did it mean? Perhaps it wasn't just recognition. Perhaps it was revelation, a reminder that the smallest act of kindness never dies. It lives on, like ripples in water, reaching shores we may never see. At home, she set the food down and knelt beside her small bed. For the first time in years, her prayer wasn't filled with pleas, it was filled with gratitude. "Thank you," she said through tears, "for letting me be seen. for reminding me that love never disappears, even when life feels empty. But even after such a moment, the nights weren't easy. The following week, Maya lost her cleaning job. The owner said they didn't need extra help anymore. The little money she had saved would barely last a few days. The fear returned, the same cold fear that used to grip her heart like iron. She sat in her dimly lit room, staring at the small candle flickering near her window. "Why now?" she asked quietly. "Why show me light only to bring me back to darkness?" But deep inside, another voice answered, not loud, not demanding, but calm and certain. "My child," it seemed to say, "the light was never gone. You only needed to see it again." Those words, whether imagined or divinely whispered, changed something in her. She decided she would not crumble this time. She took her food, divided it in two, and gave half to an old man who lived nearby and had nothing. The next day, she helped sweep the street outside her neighbor's shop for free. And slowly, people began to notice her, not as a beggar, not as a stranger, but as someone with quiet strength. Faith, she realized, isn't always found in miracles. Sometimes it's found in the courage to keep walking, to keep giving, even when you have nothing left. Inner peace isn't about escaping pain, it's about finding purpose within it. Weeks passed. One afternoon, Maya was sitting by the same bakery, waiting for work. A car pulled up, and a familiar voice called out her name. It was the father and the little boy. They stepped out, carrying a small box wrapped neatly. "We were looking for you," the father said, smiling. "We wanted to thank you properly." She hesitated, unsure, but the boy ran to her, holding out the box. Inside was a freshly prepared meal in an envelope. "This is for you," the boy said. Maya looked up, confused. "For me?" The father nodded. "You gave when you had little. Let us give when we have more." Her hands trembled as she opened the envelope. Inside was a note that read, "You reminded us what faith looks like. Please accept this small help as our gratitude." There was some money, enough to pay her rent for months, but the words meant far more. That evening, Maya sat in her room again, staring at the small candle. But this time, it didn't flicker weakly, it glowed steady and bright. She thought about how life circles back, how kindness sown in silence blooms in unexpected seasons. In the days that followed, she used part of the money to start a small food stall, serving simple, warm meals to workers who couldn't afford much. She named it, the Blessing Corner. People laughed at first, but soon, everyone in the neighborhood began visiting. Some came for food, others came for the peace they felt around her. Maya served each plate with a quiet smile, whispering a prayer of gratitude for every person who came. Sometimes the father and his little boy visited too. The boy always ran up to help her hand out meals, saying, "Daddy, can I help her today?" And each time he did, Maya felt her heart grow lighter. In her small acts of service, she had found her calling. She no longer walked unseen. She was now the light that others turned toward when life grew dark. And through it all, she learned something profound. Inner peace is not a gift from the world, it's the gift you give to yourself when you stop fighting your story and start embracing it. Many people would look at her now and see success, but Maya knew better. Her true success wasn't in the money she earned or the smiles she received, it was in the faith that had been rebuilt, the heart that had healed, and the purpose that had been found again. Every morning, she prayed the same simple words, "Thank you for today. Let me be a reason someone believes in goodness again." And every night, as she closed her stall, she would see the faces of those she had helped, and the voice of the little boy would echo once more in her mind, "Daddy, it's her." Not as a statement of recognition, but as a divine reminder, that even one act of kindness can ripple through time and change lives forever. So if you're listening to this story today, remember this, you are not invisible. The good you do, the love you give, even in the smallest ways, returns to you in ways you may never expect. The universe has a way of circling back kindness. Faith is not found in the absence of pain, it is found in the quiet strength to believe that pain has purpose. When the nights grow dark and your hands feel empty, remember Maya's story. Remember that a woman who once carried leftover food ended up carrying light. Remember that a child's innocent voice reminded her, and reminds us all, that we are seen by the one who never forgets. So walk gently today, give freely, love deeply, and when your heart feels heavy, lift your eyes and know, peace isn't something you chase. It's something you choose. Thank you for watching Kind Tales. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more stories of hope, faith, and awakening. And remember, kindness is never wasted. Somewhere, someone will always look at you and whisper, "It's her. It's him. That's the one who gave me hope."